Good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Sadler-Jones. I'm the City Administrator, and I would like to call to order the License and Variance Board meeting for Wednesday, September the 11th, 2019. Board members present to my left is Roy Akery, the Fire Chief, and to his left is Frank Martin, the Public Works Director. Mary Marvin is the Administrative Services Coordinator, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item is a public hearing. Variance request V19038, reduce minimum floor area from 2,000 square feet to 400 square feet, land lot 777, 3.58 acres, 2359 Barbara Lane. Jeff Carter is the applicant. Can you step to the podium, please? And for the record, can you state your name?
Morning, board members. My name is Jeff Carter, and I live at 3220 King Springs Road here in Smyrna, Georgia.
All right, and if you can tell us about your variance request, please.
The property we bought at 3259 Barbara Lane is almost about 4 acres of land, and we wanted to build a tree house on it, but Smyrna requires a minimum floor area of 2,000 feet. So we brought forth this request to be able to build a tree house that can fit in the trees.
And what are you going to have inside of the treehouse?
We'll have a loft with it'll be an open floor plan. They'll consist of a living room with a loft and a full kitchen and a full bath, and then, of course, a deck out the back.
Okay. All right. Any questions for the applicant? Okay. All right. Well, we may be calling you back up, so we'll have Caitlin Crow from our Community Development Department. I got your last name right since you got married.
You did.
Okay.
All right. Good morning. I'm Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 over at Community Development. So this variance is V19-038 for that reduction in minimum floor area from 2,000 square feet to 400 square feet. So the subject property is 3.58 acres. It is a vacant wooded lot currently. So the applicant is proposing a treehouse as the primary structure, which does include that full kitchen and bath, making it a primary residence. It will sit roughly 6 to 10 feet off the ground, so it will be truly a tree house with access up to it via a staircase, if you will, for the trees. So Section 801 of the zoning ordinance restricts R15 lots to that minimum square footage of 2,000 square feet. Since it is a tree house, the ordinance doesn't currently contemplate these unconventional structures to make this treehouse possible. So it has been properly posted, and we have received 2 comments in regards to possibly renting out this treehouse and to a potential goat farm on this property. After reviewing the variance application, staff does support the variance request and recommends approval to reduce the minimum floor area from 2,000 square feet to 400 square feet. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Crow, so you mentioned staff recommends approval. Were there any conditions associated with the recommendation?
Not at this time.
Okay. So I'm looking at kind of a site plan for the subject property. It looks like a considerable portion of the property is in floodplain. But it looks like the proposed location for the treehouse. And I think you're right. This is an atypical contemplation for us. I don't remember us, at least on licensed variance, ever contemplating this particular type of request. But it looks like that the structure as proposed is outside of stream buffers and just outside of the floodplain, if I'm reading this correctly.
That is correct.
And it also, just strictly from a public safety access perspective and a fire protection perspective, it looks like that the structure is within our regulations, strictly just from the public safety access and fire protection as well. And you said that this was going to be, and maybe this is a question for the applicant, or at least to confirm, this is going to be a tree house built in trees, right? So will it be on post, or will it actually be supported by trees?
A little bit of both. We'll have it suspended in the trees, but where needed to take care of the bounce and the deflection, it will have post-to-ground supports in it. So it'll be attached to the trees where it can, but if it needs extra support to keep it from bouncing and moving, just to beef it up a little bit, we will use post-to-ground timbers like you see beach houses made out of, power poles, big structures like that.
So I know you heard Ms. Crow mention that at least one concern from a nearby neighbor to this property would be whether or not there would be a goat farm. Where does that come from? Do you intend to have a goat farm?
Those words did come out of my mouth, but I think farm may be a little too much. That being a 4-acre property, my wife is opposed to any kind of herbicides being used on there, so it's extremely overgrown. I've tried to clear it once, and the wisteria and English ivy come right back. So we would like to have, if the city allows it, to have 2 goats back there just to keep everything beat down. If it doesn't work out, then we'll go back with another means. But I think it'd be kind of cool to have a goat or 2 back there to kind of go hang out with. But that doesn't really apply to the tree house. That's more of a little extra thing just to make it worth your trip when you go out there to stay the night to see your goats. So that's just strictly something on the side.
Yeah, you're right. So, whether or not there are any type of animals on the property doesn't have anything to do with the variance request. It's strictly, the request to go from 2,000 to 400. I just, wanted to give you an opportunity to address that.
I appreciate it.
So just out of curiosity, how do you contain 2 goats? I mean, do you have to have a fence, or are they?
Yeah, you'd put up a fence, which is something that, we'll probably have to do anyway with what's around the property. It's not something I look forward to do because it'd be a big expense and cost a whole bunch of money, but I think it is something that out in the future that we would have to put a fence around the property, just the way that it abuts Falling Waters and it abuts the neighboring apartment community. It's just a matter of time before kids want to go back there.
So just out of curiosity, why a tree house instead of just building a house on the lot?
We just thought it would be something fun. We look at everything kind of in the area, and when this property's been vacant since they built Falling Waters, and worked with one guy to purchase it, and turned out he wasn't the owner. So I found the true owner, and it was part of a tax sale. So it was just a 5-year period. And then my wife, once we bought it, she said, "What are you going to do with it?" And then that made me start thinking about just something. We live on King Springs Road. It's a very busy street. And if we could, come to a cool little 4-acre piece of woods and get away in the middle of Smyrna, I think it'd be kind of neat. So that's why we went this direction.
And it'll be a permanent structure? You don't plan to put wheels on it and move? Okay.
No.
All right.
When she's there, she's there.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? This is a public hearing. If anyone has any questions or comments about this issue, please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
19-038, variance request to reduce minimum floor area from 2,000 square foot to 400 square foot, land lot 777, 3.58 acres at 2359 Barber Lane.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V19038. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is approval of the minute License and Variance Board meeting.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the August 28, 20.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly seconded that we approve the August 28th, 2019 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned. For what? Who is she?